So MSNBC is really and truly in crisis mode right now. When Trump got elected in 2016, I believe there was a downturn for a little bit, but then they kind of exploded in relevance and they had more viewers than they ever did. Now, part of the problem with that is at the time they were really leaning into like Russiagate and some of the less potent arguments against Trump. And, I had a huge problem with that. I feel like there's so many legitimate ways to go after Trump. Don't go after him in like dumb ways that are easy to debunk. But so they had their heyday, but then they sort of fell off in relevancy. And this time around, there's an even bigger collapse post-Trump winning. They are really struggling. I mean, I saw some of the numbers for like the key demographic over there. Almost every show was like under 100,000 for the key demographic, which is so insane. I mean, just to put that in perspective for you, for 1 day's worth of videos on this channel, we are at least doubling or tripling, maybe even quadrupling that number of viewers in the key demo. So like, and we're just a YouTube show and our competition is literally endless. Everything on YouTube competes with us. They are one of the major TV networks and their audience is imploding. They're just going away, right? So they were already struggling. But then Joe and Mika decided, we were really tough on Trump. Trump won. I think on the one hand, they're probably kind of genuinely scared about what Trump will do. So they were like, let's request a meeting and go to Mar-a-Lago and meet him. So they did. And then they talked about that on air. And oh my goodness, the audience was already imploding, but it looks like Joe and Mika nuked whoever remained. And now everybody hates them. Like, who did you think your audience was, Joe and Mika? Do you think your audience was like wishy-washy centrists? No, your audience is anti-Trump people, both Democrats who are anti-Trump and anti-Trump Republicans. But the connecting tissue is anti-Trump. You build your audience to be anti-Trump, and then you genuflect at his altar and cuck yourself the second he wins. And then you try to make every highfalutin argument to say, well, actually, it's okay, and we need a new approach or whatever. So guess what? Just total backlash. They're really in serious, serious trouble. So it was so bad. I love this fact. Ready? The Morning Joe Twitter account shut off replies. You know that's some like low-level staffer who works for them who handles their Twitter account, and they were reading the replies, and the backlash was so severe, and they went with tears in their eyes to Mika and Joe. Were like, everybody hates us now. What do we do? And there's turn off the comments, and they're all panicking, right? Even Joe Scarborough on his own Twitter account, he turned off the replies. I haven't seen if Mika did it yet, I don't know if she did it, but Joe Scarborough did it on his account. Morning Joe did it on the show's account, and now, the day after they did their whole hey, we kind of made up with Trump, they come out and say this. I love this. Ready?
I just want to say thank you, first of all, to everybody who was so kind last night, but also thank you. Willie, yesterday I saw for the first time what a massive disconnect there was between social media and the real world, because we were flooded with phone calls from people all day, literally around the world. Very positive, very supportive, going, understand what you do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But once in a while, I would get a text or a call from someone and go, oh, man, I hope you're doing okay. And I call him back, and I go, well, Eddie Gladys went up, and I go, Eddie, are you on Twitter? And he goes, I am. I go, okay, well, I'm not. So
he's coping by saying, bro, online's not real life. Well, actually, I hate to tell you, that was my opinion pre-election. Now, post-election, I actually completely disagree. It is real life. Trump going on Joe Rogan and Andrew Schultz and Theo Vaughn and J.D. Vance going on Tim Dillon and Joe Rogan, like that shit mattered. It mattered. Online is much closer to real life than we would like it to be, right? But he's coping here, so he's like, bro, that's not even whatever about that. I got so many calls saying, bro, we love you and you're so right about this. No, Joe Scarborough, the only people who would call you and tell you how brave and nice this was are people who are already pro-Trump. Republicans, not your audience. Not your audience. Your audience is leaving you at 1,000 miles an hour. So you got some elite assholes on Wall Street who call you and pat you on the back. And by the way, I think he's overstating it too. I think maybe he got 1 or 2 phone calls. Maybe. But he's acting like, bro, everybody was like, this is the best thing you've ever done, bro. That's what people are saying, bro. This is a very Trumpian move, isn't it? This is very Trumpian. Just try to override the reality through sheer force of will and lying about the situation.
Had a good day. Mika just had a wonderful event. It is fantastic.
Look at Mika's face.
We're going to do all of us are going to do the best we can do, and we're all working towards a better America.
Take it day by day.
Day by day. And again, you can predict the future by shaping the future.
They compared Trump to Hitler. There's a clip that's going viral where Morning Joe said previously, There is no middle ground with a guy like Trump. So you can't compare him to Hitler, then be like, well, look, I went and found some common ground with Hitler. Like, you can't do that. Okay, all right.
To talk about that 1/4 of Americans voted for Donald Trump, about 1/4 voted for Kamala Harris is, there's another election in 2 years. Now, I don't care who wins and how big they win. We've seen time and again, and we talk about it. Americans go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with their picks. If Republicans, if Donald Trump, if Republican senators put in as an attorney general somebody that 3 women have testified, I believe, if I'm correct, he had sex with an underage woman at a drug-fueled party. And what I read in the Wall Street Journal was he paid 2 other women for sex. If that is something that Republican senators and Donald Trump are okay with, there will be consequences at the voting booth 2 years from now. And of course, we always say, oh, we won. Oh, we won. You know, oh, we can do whatever we want. Really? Because that's what I heard a lot of Democrats saying after Barack Obama won. And 2 years later, the Tea Party came roaring into town. So I will say it again. This and other of these picks, Republicans would be smart to advise and consent. And Donald Trump would be smart to back off of them in 2 or 3 of these cases, because there are elections 2 years from now and things just won't go well.
They're so cooked. They're so cooked. So they do the, yeah, we met with Trump and tried to find common ground and everything went great. And he says that, and then what? You flip right back to your like, bro, Matt Gaetz, he shouldn't be in this position, bro. We need to resist that, bro. Oh, really? You were coddling his nutsack yesterday, and today you're back to like, bro, let me be the reasonable critic. Nobody's buying what you're selling anymore, dude. Nobody's buying like a tepid, milquetoast, disagree around the edges kind of approach for a guy like Trump. Trump is incredibly polarizing. Everybody knows that. This is a guy who said immigrants are eating cats and dogs and pets. That's not something where, you know, there's going to be people in the middle ground like, I disagree on that, but maybe we can work together on something else. No, that's not going to happen. I mean, again, he ran an openly fascist campaign, something Morning Joe people admitted, but now they're bending the knee of the fascist and saying, well, we need a new approach. All right. Look, I'll say this. If MSNBC wants to get significantly better ratings, we know how to make that happen. The problem is MSNBC, I mean, look, it's a massive corporation, right? And they're not going to want anybody who advocates for higher taxes on corporations and the wealthy and actually represents a left-wing ideology. But I can guarantee higher ratings. I know a number of people who can fill these slots. They can get way, way higher ratings. They're more entertaining. People won't want to take their eyes off of them. They'll fight Trump. They'll actually stand for something substantively. Without a doubt, we can make these ratings double, triple on a variety of the different shows there that are all colossally struggling. We can do that. Know how to do that. It's actually not that difficult. It's not that difficult. Those of us that are in this media space had to build it up from scratch. There was no, hey, we'll get help in this way or that way, or we know somebody who knows somebody. No, it's all put it out there and hope it takes off, right? So we know how to build something from scratch. But of course, as I said, they don't want a real left-wing network, do they? They don't want that. And also, the advertisers wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't like it. But again, I can't promise advertisers will want to throw money at you, but I can promise to double or triple the ratings. But my guess is they're not going to take anybody like me up on that offer. They'd rather stay on the Titanic after it hit the iceberg. And that's what we're watching right now. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.